Hi, in case anyone, on the off chance anyone ever finds this other than the intended recipient, my name is Jessa, and my friend Nikki asked me to do a tutorial for her stage makeup, playing Marmie in Little Women, using street makeup to get a stage makeup effect, because she doesn't have any, isn't supposed to have any theatrical makeup. I did cheat. I have one Kryolan eyeshadow that I can't live without, and it's in here, but you can probably find something appropriate. Okay. Hi, Nikki. I promised myself I was going to find a bag, like a bag of makeup for this. An entire comprehensive kit that I could fit into a large freezer bag. I may have overdone comprehensive, but it should all be stuff that you have or can have really easily, and it all fits in a thing. So, Jen's laughing at me. I've got a couple of things that aren't actually makeup that I think are at least as important. One, I should have gotten these things out in advance. One is a good facial wash, and another's a great astringent, witch hazel, which smells like nothing on earth. It's disgusting, but it's a really good astringent and toner, and it's all natural, which is always a plus. I personally don't recommend ever putting your makeup on and like over your other makeup and just going, oh, you know, and I know how it is, you know, the days when call is at 5:30 and you fall in at 5:45 and think, you know what don't want to do? This. I don't want to do any of this. I don't know if you do that. I do that. I do that a lot. I do that when it's other people's faces. That's not good. But, you know, it's gonna be, this kind of thing is hell on your skin, and it's so much harder on your skin than wearing makeup in ordinary conditions, and it's gonna be a lot easier if it's got a safe, clean, tight base to go on. So, I've got my Q-tips and cotton balls, because I do my makeup like a little 50s housewife. So we're gonna assume my face is clean because I'm in front of an easel rather than a sink, which is why the angle's really funky. So I'm just gonna put some of my disgusting smelling all-natural astringent on my face. And just go over this. I'm just looking at myself. I'd love to say that this is my, sort of street costume, closet play, Marmie look, but, this is honestly what I wore to school today. It's sexy stuff. With the hair and the cardigan. Yeah. Okay, so, once my eyes are got that nice little burn from the proximity of the witch hazel, and I want to detach my nostrils. I don't know, you may not hate the smell of this as much as I do. I mean, Jen likes it. I just think it's disgusting. But, and just get a little bit of a moisturizer. I'm using the tiny bottle of Vivino Positively Radiant because it's my favorite, but, you know, you might not want to use it during a show because it's not cheap. Not by college budget standards, anyway. And that's about as long as I can dawdle before putting makeup on my face. I love theatrical makeup. I love costume design. I'm not actually a big fan of street makeup because it's just not the same thing. You know, it's like saying I like ball gowns, so I should enjoy blue jeans, and I really don't. But, every time I tell somebody, you know, how to do, a good base with street makeup, as if they don't have an all-natural face healthy base yet, you know, I try to use really, really, really cheap stuff because I'm a starving college student, but, this is the part that's gonna be stuck to your face all day. So the kindest thing that you can find for your face, a BB cream or one of those, you know, natural brands or mineral makeups, you know, whatever you can get, because at the end of a week of doing this every night, your face is going to write you a letter that says, "Dear self, I hate you, you suck, I'm gonna throw some pimples and scars and pain at you now." And fun fact, by the way, speaking of that, as I've just discovered, I have the powder and concealer, but I left my foundation in the other room, so I'm gonna pause this and go get it, and I'll be right back. So, I brought concealer. If you look in the mirror and you think, "Ooh, I could use some concealer," use it, but don't, you know, enslave yourself to it. The further along you get in the show, the more likely you are to look in the mirror and go, "Oh, I really need that concealer." So, I'm going to use this one, but minimally, because, frankly, I'm not a big fan of it. So what I've got is fairly limited. And, so just, you know, there's no need to try and turn yourself into, you know, mask of perfection. I mean, it's not that kind of show, you know. Humanity happens. Should be a slogan for something really cool. So, as far as base, I'd love to pretend like it's super complicated, but I mean, match your skin tone as well as you can. People say when you go on stage, go a shade darker. And if you can't find your exact skin tone, then yeah, go a shade darker, but I mean, as close as you can get to perfect, you know, it should disappear. You shouldn't go, "Oh, my base looks good." You should say, "Oh, my face looks good," because, you know, your face is more important. So, you're just going to put on the healthiest, closest, most natural shade you can find, and hopefully it'll be really subtle and really natural, because, you know, you're gonna put on about, you know, 2 or 3 times as much of it as you want to, or at least certainly as I want to, because I don't do this. I'm not a foundation person. You know, I like my skin the way it is, even when it looks like crud. It's amazing the amount of stuff I can say while smacking my face with paint, but, you know, nothing else to do. Nearsighted people shouldn't be forgetful. Now I have to put my glasses on to see what I've done, because I don't remember how much I've gotten. Did I get my nose? That's because I didn't get more on my nose. What? Awesome. I have a brain over there on the couch. Jen's aside. Alright. So, as I talk gracefully through my hands, once you've got a pretty good base all over, and make sure that it's blended in. I see a lot of people who have one color on their face, and then they've got a neck, and between them there's this awkward mask-like line, and of course the more of this you put on, the more obvious that'll be. And if you know, whatever skin you've got, other than your hands, I mean, just take it down as far as it's gonna go. It doesn't matter. Powder, any powder will work as long as it's around the same color as your face. Don't put it on yet. So, today we're going to talk about contouring. It's a big scary word, but I promise if you do it well, the world will not end. So you should be able to, either have or be able to find a compact that has just a plain eyeshadow compact with all the colors you'll need for this. I thought I had one. I don't. So I've got an old. All my compacts, not mine. Those aren't my colors. And a couple of little ELF, eyes, lips, face compacts. I love these. They've actually got a surprisingly high pigment, and they're dirt cheap. And but you need to find in your own stuff or in the store a compact that has just a matte earth tone compact that has at least one shade that is lighter than your face and one shade that is darker than your face, and neither, not too far from your own color, but enough that you can tell. Looking at what I've got, I cheated. I got out this is my Krylon eyeshadow. It's actually an eyeshadow. It's not actually meant to be a stage makeup, but I didn't like the shadow colors that came with Krylon, so this is what I've used for all my contours for a few years now. I'm trying to talk and dig at the same time. So I've got several makeup brushes. I was a nice girl. I didn't use my my fancy ones. I got the 99-cent drugstore brushes, so it's all good. And so I like contour. You're a super smart woman. I don't think you're gonna have any problems with it. Sometimes it confuses people, but it's really very self-explanatory. Stage lights are wonderful things, but they exist very much like this light here, which is why I'm using it, to turn your face into an egg, which is pretty much this right here. And so all you're going to do is paint your actual face right back in. So your mid-tone eyeshadow and bronzing brush, and just like start at your cheekbones. I've heard a tip. A lot of people say, that the way to find your cheekbones to do your contours is to go like this. Don't do that, because then you end up with them down here and it looks very unnatural. Just like smack your face, and where your fingertips have to curl to touch your face, just don't put it there. Just everywhere that your hand can hit flat is fair game. Just start at the top, and obviously further back it's going to be a little darker, and then you'll kind of fade down and forward. Look at that. Looks like I have cheekbones. Suckers. And do it again. Try to keep it even. I think a lot of this is fairly self-explanatory, and you'll get it on your own. I'm just talking extra because it takes more time for me to do it than it takes to say it. So I'm filling the silence because I'm one of those people that doesn't deal well with silences. So make sure once your cheekbones are back in place and you're like, oh, thank God I have a face, you just take and do the same things around your forehead and your jawline. This is a really great time if you've ever wanted plastic surgery, to try it. Minimize double chins, strengthen jawlines, blah blah blah. Had to, straighten noses, all sorts of whatever. Faces are fine the way they are, but it's fun for change sometimes, I suppose. So, and obviously, where your deepest shadows would be, that's where you'll put a little extra. But, and where it'll be a little lighter, you'll put a little less. So, and, if you're as nearsighted as me, it helps to have a friend, your little broster, who can see you and tell you when you miss a spot. Thanks, Jen. You know, what people need is slightly different. Like, you know, you can shade at your temples a little bit and, you know, make your brow a little stronger or whatever. I don't do a lot here because my forehead's already a lot narrower than the rest of my face. You know, if you have a high forehead, you want lowered, you might shade a bit at the top. If you have a low forehead, you want raised, you might highlight a bit up here. You know, it doesn't really, it's a bit personal. And last, to do your nose. I say to do your nose last because noses are, you know, can get, when you turn into an egg, they, you know, they vanish. They're the strangest thing to have gone. But if you, but they're also the easiest thing to overdo because they actually are just right there, just kind of all over your face. So I wait until, you know, you're a little more, until you're feeling comfortable with the general concept and try to be delicate with it. And if you're not horribly, horribly nearsighted, like some people I could name, most theaters have like more than one mirror in their dressing rooms, like mirrors facing each other. You know, when you get between two mirrors and your reflection just goes on forever. I think it's interesting because, you know, because there's an old superstition that says that when you get between two mirrors like that, it steals a bit of your soul. And theater people, as a general rule, are a very superstitious lot. So I think it's interesting to think, you know, what it would take for them to risk their souls. And but having a chance to practice the 30-foot rule, you know, if the audience can't see it from 30 feet away, it doesn't exist, is worth it. So, make sure to blend it enough because otherwise it can be terrifying and I'm all scary right now. One of the just convenient tricks with if you have the double mirrors, just look at somebody, like get on the back row of an audience and look at someone on stage and see about how big they are. And the next time you're in the dressing room, kind of check that same measure and see how many of you away it takes to get that effect, because that's what you look like. So it helps. It helps me, makes me feel better. But yeah, and you know, make sure everything's blended and not too anything. And that's basically your shadowing. I'll probably do a little more when we actually get to the eyes. And then find a good color that's similar to your skin, but a couple of shades lighter. Arbitrarily, I'll choose this one. And, you know, pretty much I'm just gonna do the same thing we just did, but backwards. I figure out where I put my brushes. There we go. So highlights are like shadows, but a little more fun, I think. They're more fun. Hopefully, you can find a matte color for this too. It's a lot harder. There's a lot more, eyeshadow highlights are more likely to have like some sparkle in them. But it's not as bad because they're catching the highlights. So, you know, everywhere where the light hits and where you want the light to hit, you know, you kind of hit it again. So the tops of your cheekbones, you know, I'm going to draw it up a little. You know, when I do the girls, I'll do theirs a little rounder and younger, but you're a bit more mature. So you can sort of pull that up here. And And same on this side. And it's kind of fun. It's just kind of like making a picture 3D. I mean, that's basically what it is. But you know, I've had theater kids ask, okay, where do I put this again? And I really want to cling to my mystique, you know, and be like, well, here's the magic key for, you know, but really, I mean, it's, you know, where it's lighter, you make it lighter, where it's darker, you make it darker. You know, it's passably simple. Just takes a little practice. And now that I've just said how simple it is, I'm going to put my glasses back on and make sure I'm not doing anything hideous. Yeah. And just, you know, try to have this is my style anyway, but try to have a sharp line in one way and a, you know, sharp line where you meet shadows and fade out gently, like, so when it's under your chin, you know, your lips cast a shadow, so right where that curve is, make sure it's nice and sharp on the highlight, and then just blend softly out, you know, stuff like that. Can, you know, toss a little highlight on the top of your forehead, or, you know, you can highlight right above the inner corners of your eyebrows if you want, you know, to just slightly emphasize the, you know, softer, more concerned expression there that you probably have after raising a ton of daughters. And then I'm just gonna do a really basic, very old-fashioned eyeshadow look, and I think I just got an eyelash in it. It was fun, and you know, it's not, you know, it's the same compact. Not this. I've seen this. Yeah, no blues, no purples, and just take, you know, a little brush or sponge and like the darkest shadow color you've got, and just in the outer corners here, dab that into the crease. You know, from the 1940s to the 1980s, every woman knew how to do this, so I'm not being original or interesting at all. But that'll shape them really pretty. And, so, you know, resist the urge to pull your eyeshadow or eyeliner out into the cat's eyes. I'm not actually talking to you. You're not remotely tempted to do that. But, you know, there are those. Sometimes do. And then, your highlight color from before, just put it right in the arch of your eyebrows. Which, you know, mine need love right now, but we're gonna pretend I have an arch right now. And again, like sharp line at the top and then fade down. And, I don't know, for me, you know, I apply about 20 coats of this before I'm satisfied with it. I don't know, I'm picky. And once again, once you're comfortable with it and you're not afraid you're going to do something terrifying, just put a fine line of it. Like if you've got a soft brush, it's probably about the same right width, and just brush it down your nose. If you want the arch of your nose, the bridge of your nose to be a little more predominant, put a little more there. If you want the tip of your nose to be more predominant, put a bit more there. And just dot a little more right there, and it's going to be Oh, I'm so cute. And, yeah, if you want to make your nose look longer, you can highlight a little higher up than it actually is. This is non-invasive, low-cost plastic surgery right here. And, blend that a little because, again, it's going to kind of leap out. Look, no egg. Look, Ma, no egg. And, you know, you'll want to take a little of that same highlight and kind of the inner corners of your eyes to kind of, for a little contrast. It doesn't need to be too much. And then a sort of a mid-tone, like a normal, almost your normal skin tone. And just brush it across there. And then if you have like a sort of a lighter shadow, like the kind of used over here, blend it into those dips in the corners and into the outer corners of your actual eyelid. And if you do that fairly tastefully, should look nice. And optional, bless you, your eyebrows. I'm gonna cheat and put my glasses back on because I don't want to see what on God's green earth my eyebrows look like if I try to do them blind. But just take your brush and your dark shadow contour. I think you actually have this one. And just tap it on there and put it on your eyebrows. I suggest starting about here because if you put accidentally, well, there's still more on the brush, because if you start here, you end up with this really ferocious, scary thing, and just curve it so that the thinner line goes this way, and then come back and brush the flat side of the brush down this side. This one's a bit over-exaggerated, but again, 30-foot rule. The audience can't see it from 30 feet away. It didn't happen. And that little lump right there, that's why I have Q-tips. And you do it on the other side, and if God is merciful today, they match. If he's, if the theater gods are playing, you'll end up with two totally mismatched eyebrows, and you'll cry. No, I would cry. You're tougher than me. There you go. That's not bad. And if you want to take that same color and dab it in just a couple of places in like the depths of the shadows, like darkest part of that cheekbone, and like the little corner of where corners caused by the bridge of your nose. I'll fill a lot of the shape back into your face. Personally, I always put a little one right here, sharp line on the bottom, and then fade down here, and that goes nicely with the highlight on your chin, and keeps your mouth dimensional. So and if you do that, and then your character is a homespun person, but if you do that and then highlight right up here, then you end up with this nice sort of perpetual full pouty thing, and highlight right there and right along the corners here. And you say, I've given up on my brushes and just finger painting now. I'm like a little kid. There you go, that's pretty. Alright, and onto a little bit of color. Should have paused it there, it was so dramatic. Yeah. So, I've got my entire little bag of lipsticks here. Not this. This is evil. This is the devil. If you're not doing cabaret, don't use that. Which I know you won't. But you would not believe how many people have tried. So, you know, find a lipstick that's really close to your natural color, but a little, you know, a little darker, a little brighter. Make sure it's nothing too muddy, but if it's too bright, horrible things happen. Awful, awful things. And I'm persnickety, but I mean, personally, you know, I say try them out. Try out a couple of them on a friend who, you know, or something, so that you can see what they look like under the stage lights, because stage lights are funky, funky things, and you never know what they're gonna do. You know, if you, I joked once with a friend who was doing lighting design. You know, if I was doing makeup and he was doing lights, we could own the show, because I could put all the actors in red tone lips and lipsticks and blushes, and he could put green lights on them. They'd all turn black under the stage lights, and we would own it. We're horrible people. That's all I can say about that. So once you've got a good lipstick color, I'm going to use this. This isn't perfect. I would suggest something warmer than this. A little ironically redder, but it will work. You know, put a little chapstick on first, because it's the last your lips will see the sun, and, you know, they should have some love before they go behind all this. So, you can put your lipstick on either directly or with a brush, especially in a show where you're, you know, might be sharing with people. It's humane to use a brush. And just put it on. Yeah, this is an interesting color. This is pretty much the same color as my actual mouth. I had no idea how close this would be to my actual lip color, but we're gonna use that. That's fine. And if you use the lip brush, as every good little old lady from the World War II or I knows, you can get a nice, much sharper, cleaner line, and you're less likely to need lip liner. Not anybody wears lip liner anymore, but alright, so you got that. A good base of that on. There's all sorts of fun things that I can, you know, you can do with lipstick, and, you know, kind of contouring your lips and all that stuff, but, you know, I don't think you want to take the time or need it for your character, so that'll be another day. Another day, another dollar, another video. It's a little too bright, but, you know, work with what I got. So I got that on, and then this is my, you can kind of pop your lips together. Don't rub them together. Don't do that. This is my sort of pro tip of choice. Don't get blush. Like, blush is a waste of time. Just use the same lipstick, and between your shadow and your highlight, just dot that along your cheeks, and you can blend it in a moment, and then you know that you'll always know that that they'll match. So when it gets foundation on it, just rub it off on your hand or paper towel or whatever. But, you know, you never have to worry about your lipstick and blush not matching, because I know that's what keeps you up at night. Is, you know, gosh, what if my lipstick and blush don't match? I know it gives me nightmares. And so to get some on the front, because, you know, you're a little, you know, you're not an 80s model, you're a healthy, hardworking woman, so just rub that in, and try, Lord knows we all try to make both cheeks match, but, you know, human beings are not symmetrical. Just hope and pray. And then, you know, personally, I always put a little bit of blush as well on my forehead, nose, chin, because people have a lot of rosiness in their faces that we just take out with the blush, and we do it on purpose. And in fact, I'm just gonna use my the dots on my hand for that. But, you know, we carefully remove it all, but then we don't look natural, and it looks too painted, so, you know. So, I put them right back in, and, you know, you look more like a person. And,